Yeah, thank you for reminding. Okay, one more time. Let's go back. I started the recording. Okay, let's do this. So we are talking about the commandment from Abraham to his servant said, stay. Okay, yashab. So when we are talking about the word shepu, then that is yashab. And then the first yod is dropped off. And then this one, shebu, is commandment, right? Imperative form. And then what is the point of having lakem? Okay, anyone want to share? What is the central point? Kanae, I want to hear from you. What is your understanding? Why is that we have lakem, which literally means to yourself and for yourself?
It's for what I understand is it's adding information to emphasize what the verb means.
Right. Thank you for the point. Any other opinion
And
from
also,
others?
oh
Yes, yes. Also, go ahead, Kanae.
no, first I was thinking then just like weird expression, but when I read the information from TC News, I learned that it comes when the verb is imperative to MPL. Also, the suffix
Mhm,
need to have agreement with it,
mhm,
the
mhm.
person and
That's great.
number.
Yeah, you correctly analyze it. I'm glad to see you expressing and explaining all the details there. Yeah, you are totally right. You got 100 mark, exactly 101 point. You did a good job. So now, what is the significance of learning this syntax again and again? Sometimes you may not be able to see kind of important information there most of the time or more than 50%. But if you really focus on the basic grammatical aspect that we've learned in Hebrew 1 and 2, then your translation will be simply what? Stay for yourself, right? But in fact, we just realized that it can be coming together with imperative form to emphasize the significance of the occurrence. So when Abraham told his servants, stay here, it doesn't sound like stay here. Somehow he carries the nuance that it's quite important task. Perhaps what is it? The action of waiting for Abraham and Isaac there itself is not really that important, but somehow he knew and he understood what is coming. So somehow when he was saying, hey, stay here, probably it reflects uh, on his feeling. Okay, I'm just carrying on with such important task and that which is not easy. So, but anyway, you can highlight, this kind of emphasis there since we have lakem, and you can see that many times the imperative form will not come with this lame preposition attached to pronominal suffix. So there must be a specific reason for Moses to use this combination there. Okay, so we can see a little emphasis. Any question? Not to me, but to Kanae.
Just add on comments, please, Doctor.
Okay.
According to what I wrote down in page 377, I put in quotation mark extended to the ideas of time.
Mm-hmm.
So the time and the idea was used by Abraham of how he told the servants about what is going to happen. It is like brainwash for the servant to stay back, but only him and the son will go and fulfill what God has told him to do.
Mm-hmm. So where did you get the information?
Page 377.
377. It's quite
Yes.
it sounds quite interesting. To be honest, I have not paid attention to the specific portion, but could you see Genesis chapter 22, verse 5 as a reference there?
Um, what I do, I just sorry, I just bring the page number and the SOS 119, the subordination of nouns and the verb by means of preposition. So in page 377, I quote that one is the extended to the idea of time.
Okay, let me go to the specific parts of 377.
Yes.
Okay, you just go up to, okay, now I see what you're saying. So in fact, if you click on the specific part, it will lead you to, where is it?
Bracket A.
Yeah, I mean, S section under the same title, but it will lead you to S section or yeah, S section. So when you're talking about the specific passage of Genesis chapter 22, verse 5, the explanation is there under letter S. That is the specific part. So it's more about emphasis, as Kanai pointed out. But if you go up to the very beginning, where the general explanation of the subordination of nouns to the verbs by means a preposition, you can see the general explanation under letter A. So that's where Albert got this idea of time concept there. So it said in general, as is the case with regard to the general subordination of nouns to the verbal idea, so also their subordination by means of preposition is used to present the more immediate circumstances of a place, time, cause, purpose, measure, association, or separation. So now you can understand, sometimes you can see the preposition coming together with pronominal suffix, then it has something to do with the immediate circumstances. It emphasizes, it provides more immediate circumstances in terms of place, time, cause, purpose, measure, association, and separation. But Albert, I'm afraid that you might bit, coming with some loosened and broad explanation, because it provides, as I said, the general understanding. When we talk about the time concept, then the preposition should be somehow time related, aspect. So when you're talking about lamed, then it doesn't really carry the idea of time. So it simply means, there can be various preposition can be used together with the noun. So whenever you see a specific preposition that is indicating the time concept or place concept or cause concept, then that's the time for you to interact with those aspects. But when it comes to lamed preposition, then I don't know if we can really properly apply the idea of time. Okay. So, but once again, I don't want to really say you're totally wrong. If you can see any time-related matter, especially in relation to lame preposition, and if you can support it by other evidences on other scholarly works, then you can argue for that. Okay? But good point. So that is gonna be a good reminder. When you go up to the very beginning, which provides a general understanding, that you gotta be really careful and you need to relate that idea to specific portion to clearly understand. Thank you, Albert. Okay,
Thank you.
good one. Then let's move on to another point. All right, I think we have jussive and imperative and cohorted, right? In relation to verse 5. Am I right? Okay, please look at the portion. And I want to ask, let me go to the part. Yeah, I think that's Wirtz and O'Connell. So Joship imperative quotative, and that is specifically deals with quotative in independent clause. Okay, in verse 5. Um, Amos, what is your understanding?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. For this one, what I wrote is like this, you know, like this is like what is has already appeared in verse number 2, because verse number 2 also has, you know, this sort of, you know, an imperative followed by like a preposition and then a pronominal suffix. And this number 1, it has, you know, the subject of the verb, the imperative, has to agree with the pronominal suffix. That's number 1, showing that there is like a special interest in the person represented by the pronoun, I mean the pronominal suffix. And perhaps it may also have some reflexive feature. And yeah, that's what I wrote.
Oh well, Amos, I don't know if you are really dealing with the specific part. Actually, you need to deal with the verse 5 and where it says va ani, okay, and I and the boy, all right. And then what is it? Na leka at. So that what is what? Verse, where is verse 5? You need to look at verse 5. And then it has something to do with the uses of qualitative. And where can you see the qualitative?
Okay, the cohortative. Yeah, it is. I said it is cohortative in spelling and is separated by a vav, but it can be seen as indicative in meaning, showing something that is a completion. Sorry, the action is incomplete. And it also can show that speaker it has a strong will to carry out the action he speaks of.
Right, that's the point. Good job. So actually, the last point is quite important. So if you look at verse 5, in the middle, you have the word starting from veani, okay? Vehannaar, nelka. So nelka is what? That's qualitative, first person common plural. So when you're talking about qualitative issue, we are specifically dealing with the word ne, nelka, nelka, right? So you need to really focus on it. And then what is the significance of having one? And Paul Donner says the cohortative express the will or desire of the speaker. Okay, it's quite straightforward. In cases where the speaker has the ability to carry out an inclination, it takes on the coloring of reservation. So if you look at this part, and it said, as for me and the boy, we will go there and worship. So that is the translation of Walt O'Connell. Instead of let us, because normally put the translation of quotative as let me, or let us, or may I, or may us, right? May I, yeah, may I, and may we. So in this case, it opens the door for another possible translation. Instead of putting let or may, it can simply refer to I and we will do something in the sense of strong desire and will. So what is the proper translation in interpretation here? As Abraham said this, hey, wait here, the boy and me, we will. Let's say one more time. He is saying the boy and me instead of simple we. So you can see that he is really emphasizing I and the boy. Okay, think about it. And then what is the ordinary order? The verb should come first, and then the subjects are following. So it is actually changed. And whenever you see the change the order, then what is the significance in terms of syntax? The emphasis is there. So he said it's not only I, but I and the boy. All right. And then we will go worship. And then that it is followed by another one and return. So what is the significance of this quotative in the context? Okay, what is a new insight that you have learned? Amos, how does it affect your translation then?
Sorry, what's the question? So what affects my translation?
Yeah, so the information that you just know here, how does it affect your translation and interpretation of the specific context of verse 5?
Okay, so I would like to say that just as you said, like it is like the boy and Abraham who is speaking, like, and they will go there, but the two other, servants will just remain at the foothill.
Okay. All right. What about others? Can you see any significance in terms of this, the use of causative? Any insight or new insight?
I read here, it said that in the first person plural, the speakers usually seek to instigate or encourage each other to some action. So, so I think that maybe Abraham had the sense that he will go together with Isaac and return together.
Okay.
So he believes that Isaac will survive.
Okay, that is something that you can realize from the use of causative. Good points. Good point. I want to really see something like this that has a lot to do with your own interpretation of the specific context. Whether or not you are really right. There can be a lot of theological questions following your what you mentioned, Stephen, but you can argue that in a sense. What about others? Do you really? Yeah, Pierce.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to tell you, it says in the notes that the cohortative can take on 4 kind of different nuances: an assertive, like I will, or an undecisive, like I might do something, encouraging, so let us do something, or a request, like may I do something. So in this case, it's definitely assertive. There's no doubt about that. Abraham is saying, like, we will go. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
All right. So then talking about the word of halak in the sense of going. So without hesitant, we will go. Okay. He is saying we will go. So it has not less. It has less to do with the idea of coming back. As far as this is concerned, maybe we can say that. But I think what is the point? Okay, and then I think it is followed by another expression that which is quotative too. So ve nashuba. So that is also we will come back. So then we can apply the idea too. So when he says we will go definitely, and it is my desire, we will go, and at the same time it's confirmation word that comes with a strong sense of the what is it? What's the word? Certainty that we will come back. So we can apply the idea too. Okay, so it's not only the word halak, but should is also used in the causative form. So now, some people, I have seen a lot of pastors preaching that Abraham didn't really mean that he will be able to come back with his son. because he almost decided to sacrifice his son. And then he didn't have that faith yet at the moment that God is going to provide. Okay, but some pastors are preaching like, no, Abraham had quite a strong faith that God is going to provide. So, those questions have a lot to do with, how we understand and deal with this grammatical aspect. But from the point of qualitative use, I think we can say that somehow Abraham was quite certain, in a sense, to go there and come back, in terms of grammar. But what can he say, And was he supposed to say, hey, we will go and I will come back? No, I think he was not supposed to say in front of Isaac. So it was quite sure that he was supposed to say that way. But as far as the grammatical and syntactical aspect is concerned, then we can really sense that Abraham is quite certain about going there and coming there, and that it is a part of his desire and will. Okay, so this is the significance of dealing with the syntactical issues, and I'm really hoping that you enjoyed this type of study. Okay, any more comment or insight that you want to share regarding this specific passage?
Sir, as we read work Okano's his explanation, using in this part, the qualitative is used, and so that actually it is for telling about the strong willingness, and yet can we also think that it is used in qualitative way, and so that Abraham, when he obeyed, but not forcefully, but just like a qualitative, like let us, and that kind of a connotation is there, and so that somewhat his willingness is there, and so can we also understand that way?
Yeah, I think you can say that. Yeah, you're right. So I don't want to really ignore that side too. So there must be a specific reason for Moses to use this specific grammatical skill. Okay, so I think that is one of the points that you can articulate. Okay, Phineas, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's move on to the next part. And what is it? Where are we? Okay, verse 6. It deals with, word law kind of deals with the definiteness and the indefiniteness. So I want to ask maybe Chikara, what is your understanding? In verse 6, word law deals with the issue of definiteness and indefiniteness.
Okay, definiteness and indefiniteness. What I understood was like it makes when a noun with the article, it makes the noun definite, except some nouns as names or unique ones. The article may also give the nouns some additional meanings, like, for example, supporting the certainty of the existence of the noun, or like the points to, or like points or highlights the person or thing.
Yeah, you're right. So it just says the article may also mark nouns definite in the imagination, designating either a particular person or thing necessarily understood to be present, or vividly portraying someone or something. So the idea is, okay, how the definiteness was used there. It is related to two nouns there: the fire, the knife. So this is the question of Isaac, and he took in his hand, not question. Okay, it was the just illustration of what is going on. So, and he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So now, what can you say? In fact, it is vividly portraying what is there.
Mm.
So somehow you can simply say, okay, it's the fire and the knife or there. But somehow intentionally highlight that there was the fire and the knife. Why? Because it refers to the absence of the lamb. So somehow the intention was there from the perspective of the author. Okay, so when he was explaining what was going on, the idea of emphasis that, okay, the fire and the knife were there. Where is the lamb? That is, what is following. Okay, so that's something, but very, how can I say, minor stuff. But when we are understanding those syntactical aspects, then you can hear the accent of the narrator. Can you understand? It doesn't really bring a significant difference in terms of interpretation. But when you read the letters, sometimes you can misunderstand what really means by the words. That's why you are writing something in email, you could be misunderstood easily, right? Because it doesn't carry the accent and the tone, and then even the facial movement. So sometimes people could misunderstand. So bad words can be more badly heard, or the romantic words can be heard more romantically. And this is my experience. So when you are in a romantic relationship, it's good to write, but when you need to argue, do not write. You can be misunderstood. Have you ever experienced this before? But anyway, so you need to really see what is going on, and then it helps us to understand uh, the nuance and the stress of the scene. Okay, and let's move on.
Sir, can I also share a reaction
Sure,
with
yeah, go
the
ahead.
previous? Yeah, I can see
Yes.
that it mentioned about the fire and the knife, but when you say fire, there must be something like wood, but I see there is an omission of wood here, and it
Okay.
implies that the author slows down the text, maybe to provide or to uh, give the reader a more excitement or tension.
Okay, another exciting interpretation. Okay, I think you got a point there. Okay, I understand, because we can only see fire and the knife, but you said there. Where's the wood then? Okay, all right. What is the significance? I didn't really think about it, but yeah, you can argue that in a sense. Thank you, Romero. Okay, let's move on. PS10 frequentative, I think it's just general explanation about the use of PS10. So I think we don't need to really spend time for this. Let's move on verse 7 to verse 7. It said incomplete sentence. Okay, what is it? All right, simple idea. If you look at Genesis chapter 22, verse 7, then you can see hine ha esh. So if you cannot see the main verb, so that's why it said incomplete sentences. It's not really complete sentence, okay? But the subject or the predicative was must in somewhere, and was must in somewhere way be supplied from the context. So based on the context, you need to decide the translation. So the translation is here is the fire and the would. So that's it. The sentence is not complete, but you have to make decision in terms of translation based on the context. Let's move on. And it talks about adverbs. Nothing important. Okay. Okay, let me move on. Explanations and polar questions. And it deals with hine. So the author, Walter O'Connor points out that when we use the word hine, then it comes with the idea of exclamation, but specifically, sometimes it functions include adversative, and that's verse 9, number 19, and this is the case. So when it says hine, then it doesn't simply say, hey, behold, look. So the idea of explanation is there, but it has something to do with, something like the idea of but, okay? But. So that's why it is indicating here are the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the olah, contemporary? So sometimes the hine carries the idea of but later. It's associated with the idea. Verse 8, 9, 10, 11, no point. Move on to verse 12. Okay, causal clauses. Let me ask James. What is your understanding about this? Jessenius talks about causal clauses.
Let me see what I wrote. It's
verse
it's
in
like
verse 12. Okay.
Yes. I wrote that it's like it's the demands. It's like the command that you don't do this, you don't do that. It's like is how to say that, like here can two causes. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I said. It's like from what I understood from Jessenius, this is the demand from God to through the messenger to Abraham that do not lay your hand on your son and do nothing to him, something like that.
Okay, but why is it called causal clauses? So it has something to do with causality, so which means consequence of event. Okay, so you can see that. So you need to get the hint from the title actually. So what does it mean by clauses? And you have two clauses, the sentence. Okay, so you have two sentences, and then what is the relationship between these two sentences? So it should be understood in terms of causal, the sense of causal. So in case a complete clause assigning the reason for state, statement, demand, threat, and sometimes follows with the simple verb copulative. So verb copulative simply means verb conjunction. You can just take that way. So what does it mean? When you have two sentences connected through verb, okay? You have two sentences, and then the second sentence is breaching. No, the two sentences are breached through the presence of verb. Then the idea is that is causal. The sense of causal is there. So something happened, and then that is a causal. The consequence and the idea of relationship is going on. So if you read Psalm 60:13, then see that it gives the idea, gives us the help against the adversary, and then it is followed by verb, which means end. Am I right? And then it says, vain is the help of man. So what is the connection and what is the relationship between these two sentences? Especially talking about the function of end. It doesn't simply, what does it mean? End. But end is connecting this first sentence to the second one, providing the consequences idea. Okay, Lord, give us help against the adversary so that they the help of men. So it's not simple end, but the causal relationship is there. Do you understand what it means? Okay. So talking about the passage in 12, where can you see the causal concept there? I just found it from here as I highlighted in red. Ki Yahweh Elohim Ata. So because you are fearing God. And what is it? This you kasak withhold. So law together with the law, you did not withhold your son. So what is the connection between them? You can see that, okay, you are afraid of God. You are fearing God. And you did not withhold your son. So it's not simple actions taking side by side, but it denotes the relationship between two sentences in terms of cause. Do you understand what it means? You afraid of God, so you did not withhold your son. Can you see that? So what is the theological significance there? We obey God because you are in awe of God. So the notion can be found that way. It's not simple presentation of two different actions, but there must be interrelated relationship between these two sentences. So you need to pay attention to the causal relationship somehow. Clear? Let me move on. Participle, I think this is going to be the last one. Who want to take it voluntarily? Participle. It's not really significant. Yare is used as participle, and then it provides the function of verbal adjective. So when we translate the word Yare Elohim, you can just translate it as one fearing God, and then the function is adjective verb. That's it. Let me move on then. Verse 14. Other thing, sometimes whenever you see ki and asher, and you understand that the function of those technical words is to provide subordinary clause, right? Something like, okay, I study hard Hebrew 3 because with ki, It is not easy. Then what is the connection between these two, especially in terms of the function of key? Then these are, I think, perfect sentence, which is clause. But the second clause is subordinated under the first one. Do you understand? So whenever you see asher and key, then it links the first clause to the second one, but the second clause is a subordinary. Do you understand? So this is important in terms of a syntactical analysis. Don't be confused between syntax and syntactical analysis. We haven't dealt with syntactical analysis, but it's like diagramming. So you put all Hebrew words in the form of diagram, like mapping. You will see that. So the main purpose, or one of the significant purpose of doing syntactical analysis, diagramming, is to find functions of those clauses, okay, the sentences, so that we will see the main sentence and then subordinated sentence and then subordinated sentence. Do you understand? So if you understand, okay, this sentence is controlling in a main context, and then this one belongs to this sense, and then this one is the third one, then you can see that, okay, under this clause, which is a sentence, we have two subordinate sentences. Then you can categorize these subordinate sentences as secondary information under the main. So syntactical analysis has something to do with understanding the structure of the narrative or story. Okay, so it doesn't simply mean you just understand the whole passage according to your preference. You need to take a look at the grammatical aspect and to see which sentence is the main sentence and then which is the subordinated sentence. Do you understand? So it deals with the relationship between sentences. So we are going to talk about here. Okay, before we end, I want to ask you, I just want to open this time to allow you just to share. Is there any part that you want to just talk about? Okay, anything, among when you are dealing with your assignment, was there any significant insight that you realized from your assignment? Anything that you realize, the thing that you didn't understand properly before?
Professor, I would like to say something. So I just said like the thing like you asked me to share. Even the verse number 2 and verse number 5, they all have an imperative followed by a preposition and then a second masculine singular pronominal suffix. As I said, like the pronominal suffix agrees with the subject of the imperative, which implies that the speaker has a very strong interest in the person that he speaks to. So that may explain, like, because it's saying in verse 2 is take yourself. That may be translated, be understood as you take that something personally. You do it yourself. And that can explain why in the next verse, Abraham is doing all the preparation for the sacrifice. Personally, he is only cutting the wood, he is setting the donkey and things like that. Not the servants are doing that.
Okay, I like your interpretation too. I think you got a point there, and you can argue that. But at the same time, I think you need to really convince the reader. That is another question and another challenge. Okay, especially when you are dealing with a new concept or new idea, and that's really significant. And sometimes you can support the idea based on the context, as you did, right? That's why it is somehow related to the way Abraham was so active in the moment that he prepared for the journey. I think that's a good point too. So I really appreciate it. And then I like to see Amos bringing all those different, little different understanding and insight. And that's why, this is really important for you to start studying in this manner. And you are becoming Hebrew scholar. Let me tell you this. To be honest, you can really sometimes go against me, and not personally, but academically. I will appreciate it, and it has nothing to do with being shameful as a teacher. Sometimes my role as a teacher is to encourage you to have the passion for the study and see the value of this linguistic study. So we're not doing these syntactical issues. I want to really see you bringing those new insights and something that you haven't realized before. That is the point. So I was so happy to see you getting excited. This is only my observation. I hope this is the right observation, and I'm sure that we will enjoy. So now, I know that some of you are confused about this syntax assignment. And as I said, so much hard, very fancy and difficult terminology to understand. But after this lesson, I hope you have better understanding of what you are supposed to do. So as I said, you will be given the same assignment for different passage, but I hope you have now clear understanding of what you need to do. Okay? So looking forward to another exciting journey dealing with different passage. And then please don't stop using your skill to interact with this Hebrew syntax issue. Okay, so if you can deal with those things in your preaching or in your writing academic paper, the teachers will be amazed. Oh, look at them. Okay, they know what to do, right? And I told you this is something that even old Testament professors cannot easily recognize without studying the specific passage. If you do it, you can bring out something and you just let them know that this is not from my own knowledge, from Walt O'Connell, J.C. Niels Mrauka. They will be amazed. Okay, and don't forget to say I learned Hebrew from the Chun Kim, and I will be happy. That's all. All right, so see you next week. Okay, God bless you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Sir,
Yes, Jim.
sir, I will submit my paper. I'll take the penalty for the late, sir. I
Okay,
actually
now so you clearly understand, right? What you have to do.
yes, sir, yes, sir. Actually,
Okay,
I was
then
a
that's
little
it.
bit. I actually went through the whole Bible Works. I downloaded the Bible Works 8. That's what they have. So I asked for 9 or 10, but they don't have that one. And I tried to go through, and I did not get a grasp what exactly have to do. And so I did not do. I was waiting for this class, and I will submit on before Saturday, sir.
All right, and
Thank
whatever
you.
you can, just do it. And but as I said before, there can be some reasons, but I need to deduct some marks. So
Sure, sure.
maybe 10% and 20% deduction will be there. Okay.
All right, sir.
All
Sir,
right. Yeah.
and this is the exact assignment for every whole trimester.
I'm sorry.
Is this the assignment for the whole trimester or only for this
Week.
class? Only for this
Yeah.
week. So next week we
Yeah.
have different.
Yeah. You have a different one next week, so you have to
Oh,
finish it by this weekend. Okay.
sure, 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 sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. Bye.
Thank you, sir.